Okay, class. Today I'm going to tell you about one of Picasso's greatest masterpieces, Guernica. As you know, Guernica is also the name of a Basque town. In order to understand this picture, we need to go over some of the historical background of this town. The Mas-Tón is a city located in northern Spain. During the Spanish Civil War, the German Air Force bombed the city. It was a massive aerial bombardment of a civilian population. It happened since the Nazis were helping Spain's dictator Francisco Franco. Hundreds of civilians were killed in the raid. It shocked the world, and this prompted Picasso to begin painting. He completed it in less than 2 months and hung it in the Spanish pavilion at the Paris International Exposition of 1837. The painting became a timely and predictive vision of the Second World War. There is a complexity of symbolism in the painting. It does not portray the event directly. Instead, Picasso used imagery such as suffering people, animals and buildings wrenched by the violence. It certainly shows the chaos of carpet bombing. We can feel the inhumanity, brutality, and hopelessness of war from it. Picasso really expressed his outrage very well with this monumental painting. People say Guernica is the last great historical painting. It is now recognized as an international icon for peace. You can also see a tapestry copy of it displayed on the wall of the United Nations building in New York City. It is often described as the most important work of art in the 20th century, but its meaning is still beyond the understanding even of some of the most well-known scholars. Answer: Option C. The painting has a complexity of symbolism.
Lecture and answer the questions. Okay. Now let's talk about tests and grades. There will be 2 written tests and 1 oral test this semester. Each written test will have 40 multiple-choice questions. The oral test will have 5 questions. Some of you may think the tests are too difficult with too many questions. But that is not. So, as a matter of fact, there will be a summary handout every class this semester. And if you study them, well, then the tests will be very easy. And speaking about grades, the written and oral tests will be just a small portion of your final grade. Active class participation is the most important thing to get a good grade. So please listen to my lectures carefully. Ask many questions and discuss the topics with your classmates and me during the class. It will be very good for you to prepare for each unit before class 2. Answer: Option A. They must study the handouts and actively participate in the class.
Listen to part of a lecture and answer the questions. Hello. My name is Jenny Smith. I will be your physical geography teacher for this semester. Since this is your first class, I want to talk about what physical geography is. What is physical geography? Does anyone have any ideas? Basically, it's a science about the Earth, but it differs from others in that it uses ideas from other sciences profoundly. For example, you will find information from chemistry, biology, climatology, astronomy, and many other sciences. And physical geography doesn't sound scary. Actually, you don't really need to worry about it. Fundamentally, this is geography class. So we just will use what we already know in those areas. We will not go into the details of those subjects. Okay. Now let me show you some examples. Turn to page 11, Chapter 1, Energy 1. Answer: Option B. Physical geography uses many other sciences. The atmosphere is a mixture of different gases and aerosols. We usually call it air. The atmosphere is very important to our lives, and we cannot live without it. Almost every living creature on Earth breathes it. It surrounds Earth and protects us from deadly rays and radiation from space. Answer: Option B. The functions of air.
There is a small town in Belgium called Waterloo. This small town became very famous because of Napoleon's last battle. A lot of his soldiers were killed and injured at Waterloo. As a result, he was removed from his emperor's throne and sent to St. Helena, where he died in 1821. Answer: Option C. Why Waterloo became well known.
Listen to part of a lecture in a psychology class. The professor is talking about stating laws in the science of psychology. Psychology is a relatively new science. Like other sciences, psychology must be able to state laws. A law is a way of organizing knowledge about something so that we can make predictions. When enough knowledge is gained about a subject, a scientist can state precisely what will happen under certain conditions. We experimental psychologists are interested in developing laws about human behavior, so we'll be able to understand and predict what people do and why they do it. Of course, to develop laws about human behavior, we must assume there's some regularity to it. We can't be psychologists without making assumption. The behavior follows certain patterns. One of the major laws psychologists start escaping is called the law of effect. The law of effect states that whether or not a person will repeat a behavior depends on the effect that behavior has. If an action is rewarded, it's likely to be repeated. If the action is not rewarded, or if it's punished, it's not likely to be repeated. How do psychologists state laws? First, using available knowledge, a psychologist makes a hypothesis about behavior. Then the psychologist tests the hypothesis through an experiment. But even if the experiment proves the hypothesis was correct, it's not yet a law. It's just the beginning of the work to arrive at a law that will apply to all humans. Many repetitions of the experiment must be conducted under different conditions. Only repeated verification, especially proof that the behavior can be predicted, will result in a law. Answer: Option B. To be able to make predictions about human behavior.
If you are unsure of drawing directly on pen and ink, start off with a light pencil sketch. This will allow you to make sure that your proportions are correct and that you are happy with the composition. Take a few minutes to study your subject, this chair and violin. Notice how the straight lines of the chair differ from the curves of the violin. Once you are ready to begin drawing, define the shape of the chair with clean straight lines. Then add contrast by drawing the outline of the violin with gently curved lines. You may have to apply more pressure to the nib when drawing curved lines to allow the ink to flow easily. When you have drawn the outlines of both objects, add in the finer details, such as the seat of the chair. And the violin strings suggest the texture of the woven seat by using light and dark strokes of the pen.
Answer: Option C. To explain how to draw with pen and ink.